Good afternoon, everybody. Auronnj here with another War of the Visions video, and today I'm bringing you into I call this my room. It's more like this room in the basement where our baby's gonna sleep someday, but this is where I record my stuff. I'm bringing you in here because it's the end of 2020. This is my top 10 list of the things to me, my personal top 10, that made this game great in 2020. And yeah, it's like, well, you know what, let's just do this a little different. Let's do this YouTuber style instead of game YouTuber style, and let's count it down. We're gonna go 10 to 1 the things that, in my opinion, are either really good in this game or make the game really fun. And we're gonna start with number 10. Number 10 is actually the community. Right? So this is a twist. I'm not going to have a bunch of like weird ones in here. But for the first one, I wanted to talk about how one of the best things about this game so far has been that I've really enjoyed the community. Whether it's over in the Salt Squad Discord with my guild, whether it's interacting with like Merlo or Dr. Diggs or any of the streamers or content creators, everyone has been super friendly, and that's not been my experience in some gaming communities. I come from a lot of League of Legends, and if anybody's ever played that game, you know that, well, if you die in lane, all of a sudden your whole family's the worst, and it's a mess. We don't have that here. There's not a lot of toxicity in this community, despite what some people might want you to think. Yeah, that's it. So, like, thank you to anybody who's ever watched my videos or commented, or any of the streamers or other people in other guilds that I've interacted with. I've had almost nothing but good experiences with the community in this game, and that is my number 10 of the best things of this game in 2020. Okay, let's get into some actual in-game stuff for the rest. We're going to go to number 9. 9, yes. And that's going to be Ayaka. Okay, we're jumping into a character here, and Ayaka was the first, like, great healer in this game, and she was dominant. Like, when she first came out, if you didn't have her, how did you win? She could just heal Engelbert and then bring him back to life, and then she could heal herself, and she was tanky, and it was impossible, and you just threw the 15 defense vision card on her. She never died, and it was nuts. She's still good right now. She's not as good as she was. She's not as breaking the game good, but she still holds up to this day. And I think she'll hold up well through most of 2021. I mean, maybe when Yuna comes out, Yuna's going to shove all these other healers, just like, get out of my game. But for right now, Ayaka is one of the best characters in this game. And yeah, I've really enjoyed having her. I got her early, and she's made my account super strong. So that's number 9. Let's go on to number 8. We're going to go to the other side of that healer-tank combo, and number 8 is going to be Warrior of Light. I wanted to put a tank unit on this list for sure, and I was back and forth between like, oh, who do I want? I thought about putting Mont in here just because of how easy he is to get, but I was like, no, there is a tank that is just all around good. Warrior of Light is really only better at other tanks in one area, and that area is generating hate. He just, turn 1, he does his little like sword pullback, and the shields come out, and he's like, brave presence. And now he has aggro. He's the only unit in the game that can just get that aggro on his first turn by just buff. Oh, and by the way, it buffs his defense and spirit, which makes him tankier. It's really good. Yes, Dwayne has his passive hate, but he only gets 5 hate from it. He takes like 2 hits and it's off. Vow of Love's only good for about 2 attacks. Warrior of Light can hold aggro in a fight with a defense buff on his first turn, which is really strong. And so, he's not the best physical tank in the game. He's definitely not the best magical tank in the game. He doesn't do as much damage as some of the other tanks, but he gets aggro, and he holds it. And he's tanky enough that he's so versatile, and yeah, so he's number 8. He is probably the best tank in the game in general, not situationally. He's situationally not as good as some of the other tanks, but where they fall off or they struggle to gain hate, he does not. And Warrior of Light makes my list at number 8. All right, going down. Number 7. This is something you're going to put on Warrior of Light a lot, or you're going to put on Ayaka a lot. And number 7 for me is an Esper, and I'm going to go with Golem. Golem as an Esper is really strong. It was the first one in the game that just gave us a lot of defense. So you could throw it on a character, again like Ayaka, and all of a sudden, she's not just a healer. She's a tanky healer. And you're like, well, that's not fair. I hit her, it doesn't kill her, and she's like, limit break, and she's full health, and everybody's full health, and that's broken. And Golem was it was and is a staple of good accounts right now. If you get a tank, one of the first Espers you build resonance with on that tank is Golem. And I don't see that going away. He's even more relevant now that we have all this piercing damage in the game. And yeah, he's great. He has some Man-Eater on there too. You want to make your people do a little more damage? Man-Eater. You want to run a Drain Force build? Yeah, he gives a lot of HP in Man-Eater. Cool. I think Golem is super good and makes these tank characters that I think otherwise might die a little tankier. Obviously, right? Duh. Yeah, okay. Let's move on. Okay, number 6. Number 6 is the first vision card on this list, and I'm going with an EMR vision card, Vow of Love. Now, you might be thinking, wait, you just kind of dissed Vow of Love, and it's like, it only gives us some hate, about 2 hits worth, and isn't that why everybody runs it? Yeah, like on the surface, that's right, that is why everybody runs Vow of Love, for the hate. But let's look at the other stats on this card first. It gives the person using it slash attack up. That's good for so many characters. It gives the whole group attack up. Great. And the underappreciated thing about Vow of Love is it allows so many tanks that struggle with hate generation or are slower to generate hate. It gives them those first turns of drawing the other team to them. And that is like the hidden buff that is Vow of Love. You are manipulating the other team's movement in PvP. You might prevent an enemy from going over the top of a cliff and instead running around the cliff to get to your tank, which throws off the enemy team's whole plan. And you can do that with just one vision card, because that vision card has this like gravity effect. And you never really know what it's like until you can get on a map and experiment with it. But it is a tool that is not offered by almost anything else in this game, and that's that turn 0 hate buff. Yeah, Dwayne has that now, and Dwayne functions in the same way, but with Vow, you can put that on any character you want. I've seen it on evasion people. They're like, hey, I have this Venera who's going to dodge everything, and I don't want to risk anybody else getting hit. Boom, put Vow of Love on her. It has slash attack and attack. She loves those stats. It's a great card, and it is a card, even if your account is stacked with UR things, Vow of Love is always there. You're like, maybe Vow of Love. Maybe I work that in some way. And so in a game full of situationally overpowered things, Vow of Love is super versatile and allows you to manipulate your team in ways you might not else be able to. All right, cool. Let's get into the top 5. All right, number 5. Yeah, number 5 on my list is a curveball. And that is going to be warofthevisionscalc.com. Look, if y'all aren't using this website, you're not playing the game right. This site has everything on it. I know any content creator, myself, Dr. Diggs, you name it, we just get all of our information from War of the Visions Calc. Now, like, so the stuff we're, our original, I'm not saying like we don't think of anything. No, we have thoughts and all of that. But all of our stats are pictures. So much. It is the go-to place for information in this game. It updates super regularly. And like something comes out, boom, it's on War of the Visions Calc that day. And if it's not, I'm like, oh, wait, how do I theory craft this? I don't know the stats. And then, oh, there it is. It's been updated. So this is more of just like a PSA to anybody watching this video that's new. Bookmark that site. Go there all the time. Use the team builder. Look at the vision cards. It is everything anybody who plays this game would want as far as information about units, vision cards, fights, etc. Mad props to the people who run that thing. I could not run my YouTube channel without it, at least not the way I do. And none of the content creators in this game could really do what they do without that site, at least on the global side. Yeah, I mean, yeah, the Japanese people do their own thing. All right, anyway, moving on. Number 4. Number 4 is a VisionCalc Esper combo. I'm going to go with Odin as my number 4 top thing of 2020. The VisionCalc is really good, and it's really good just like across the board. Unit attack resist buff for your group is just great. Maneater is great. You can slap that card in so many team comps, and it just works. So that's really good. But by itself, it would not have made the top 5. But in combination with the Esper that comes with it, ooh, that Esper for your DPS classes is just money. Like, oh, you have a slash damage user who wants Maneater and attack, or he wants slash resist, or she wants missile resist, or you just want a combination of all of these things. If you're running a DPS class, maybe not a mage, even though a mage could still kind of like, I run this card on Zombie Ryryu, or the Esper. I run this Esper on Zombie Ryryu. It's amazing. Any like new DPS class, this is my go-to first resonance build. I'm like, yeah, hey, we're gonna get you with Odin, and if I'm gonna feature you, you're probably gonna be running him. Oh, and he's fast. He gives a ton of agility. Amazing. Yeah, my account leveled up dramatically when I pulled Odin, and I struggled to pull him. He was my first real, like, am I ever going to get this? Like, we didn't really have the UOCs yet, and I just couldn't. I would chase him on the banners where he was featured and just miss. And I was like, oh my God, my account sucks because I don't have Odin. And I finally got him, and I was like, oh, yes. And I bought all these XL match sites and maxed them immediately. Okay, anyway. Moving on. We're into the top 3 now. The top 3. All right, number 3. This is who I think is just the best all-around unit in the game in 2020, and that's Agrias. Now, I'll start with where she's not top level, and that's PvE. She's not necessarily the greatest PvE unit. There's not a lot of ice chain slashing PvE teams, all of that. But that's not like the focus of my channel or the focus of my account. Remember, this is my top 10 list. And Agrias makes number 3 for me because she is so good as a tank in PvP. She's also so good as a bruiser in PvP. If you have a +5 ice sword, she's a pretty dang good DPS in PvP. Oh, and she can like do all these buffs on herself so she never dies. And she puts a million status effects on the other team. And it's fighting her is so annoying. And when you run her on like your Guild Wars defense, you're like, ha, good luck, y'all. Like, hopefully she doesn't confuse your whole team and then disable your healer and then you just auto lose. Awesome. Anytime I look at our like Guild Wars report and I see that I have like 3 or 4 defenses, I just assume Agrias just wrecked them. And then the DPS characters go in there and do damage. Cool, good for you. But Agrias probably carries my defense 90% of the time we win. Best PvP unit in the game to me is Agrias, hands down. There's some close ones, but she's number 1. Okay. Number 2. Now, number 2 on my top 10 list of 2020 is another unit. And you're like, wait, hold on. You just said that Agrias was the best unit. I did. But number 2 is Giza. Not because she's a good unit. She's kind of not. But Bells, her TMR. Whew, oh my God. Like, powers up any character. Agrias would not be as good as she is if everybody didn't run Jesus Bells on her. If you don't know what Jesus Bells are, you should probably make a new account and re-roll until you get Giza, and then level that character up first. Because Bells give your unit AP regeneration. There's still nothing in the game that gives AP regeneration to the level that Bells does. Yes, Oldoa's TMR generates some AP, not nearly as much. Spear Maiden, oh my gosh, can't remember, whatever. Her armor generates AP 10 or 20 or something like that, one time. That's not Bells. Bells will give you that every turn for 3 turns. Bells allows a unit to just use their abilities constantly. It turns any unit into like a Super Saiyan version of themselves. And so when I'm talking about Agrias being the best PvP unit, well then the unit that gives her bells and turns Agrias into Super Agrias, well, it's just better than she is, because it enables your whole squad. Yeah, and so that's why Giza, specifically Giza's bells, like there's an asterisk by her, but she would be the number 2 thing on my 2020 list. All right, now we're to number 1. Now, if you followed my channel at all ever, this is not going to be a surprise, because number 1 on my list is Eileen. And you're like, wait, hold on. I understand why Giza's better than Agrias because of bells. Why is Eileen better than Agrias? No, only to me. Only to me. And maybe like Keto, if you're watching, maybe to you, but you kind of left the church. I don't know. Anyway, Eileen is a unit to me that when this game first came out, all of the YouTubers back then, all of the content creators were like releasing these tier lists. And they put Eileen in this, like, the dumpster tier. It was like her, and it was Ma Cherie, and sometimes she was even worse than Ma Cherie. And I remember looking at her stats on War of the VisionCalc, and I was like, wait a second. She has the most attack of any unit I'm finding. She has some range. She has AoE. Yeah, she's slow. She's slow, sure. But you can fix that. I was like, there's no way she's this bad. And my very first videos, when I sucked at making videos, were just these like weird highlights of me running Eileen, just beating people. And that began my, I hate, the word career is weird, but it began my like YouTubing experience, which has really enhanced my enjoyment of this game because I get to interact with the community. I get to interact with the other content creators. It has really made me enjoy this game more than I otherwise would, and that is in part thanks to you all. That is in part thanks to the other people who do what I do, and it is in part thanks to Eileen, who was the unit that kind of enabled me to begin this journey as a content creator. And for that reason, I'm going to put her as number 1 on the list. More like number 1 in my heart, but also number 1 on my 2020 list. So there you go. I don't want to run this video forever. We're pushing like 20 minutes or something now. That's probably enough. But that's, anyway, that's what I've got. I want to give everybody a few reminders about this game heading into 2021. One, I know there's a lot of people worried about EX jobs coming, and I want to give my thoughts on that real quick. I love the idea of EX jobs because I love units that are old. I like making Eileen work. I like making Old Doa work and regular Stern. And by giving them EX jobs, it allows them to compete with some of the new units that are coming out. I would much rather spend my Visior and my time farming for EX shards of my old units that I'm already emotionally invested in and like, than I would for just some new unit if they're pumping out a new unit every 2 weeks. No thank you. I would rather power up my old units that I really like. And that's my thought on EX jobs. Now, I know that they're releasing some new units with already EX jobs, and they're probably just going to be overpowered. But check out some of my other videos on like how to kind of use overpowered units with other units if you're not somebody who can just drop hundreds of dollars a week on this game and have all the new stuff. Because that's not most of us. It's like 0.01% of us. Anyway, that's my thought on EX jobs. My last thought for 2020 is has to do with that, and it's my favorite thing overall about this game, and it's been just how diverse you can play. At any level, you can use almost any unit you want and make them work. And I've played a lot of games that aren't like that. That are, oh, you better play things that are in S tier right now because they just got patched into S tier or something. And if you're not playing them, you just have such a disadvantage that it's hard to win. And it's actually not hard to do that in this game. There is a big brain element to this game where if you build your team comps right, you can win in matchups. That is what my YouTube channel is basically all about. is how to like build teams, find matchups, and win. So if that is something that interests you, if this is the first video of mine you've ever watched, and you're like, this dude's insane, he's put Eileen as #1 on his list, cool, you can think that, but check out my other videos and maybe you'll come around to my my thought process on how I play this game. All right, y'all, it was a, I was about to say it was a great 2020. In a lot of ways, it wasn't. But in one way, this game, it was a highlight for me. I hope that you guys also enjoyed this game in 2020, and I hope that y'all stick around, play with us in 2021, and I will see you guys in my next video.